Hey guys, this is Adam with See You Later Leaner, and I wanted to make a special introduction to my client and friend, Lisa Lachowski, who is the fittest 50-year-old in the world. And actually, she's 57, but she just won the IFBB Masters World Championship. So if you guys saw Janine's, she won the 60 and up. But Lisa also wanted a different division, which is figure. And Lisa's been working with me for a long time, I think since 2017. And we've been going strong ever since. And, I think that, one reason I wanted to do these podcasts, I don't think the Masters women get enough credit. A lot of the Open girls are getting highlighted. And I think it's even more impressive when you're in the Masters division and killing it and really adopting fitness as a lifelong lifestyle. So tell us a little bit about your fitness history. And I know a lot about it, but act like you don't know me and tell us about your journey, how you got started, when you started competing.
Here we go. We're going to have to go way back in time. I think I started exercising when my mother actually was doing aerobics. That was the big thing back when I started working out. And of course, we did the aerobics all the time. And it was quite a while for the aerobic era, I suppose, let's go back in the 80s. So I did enjoy it. My teacher at the time, who was my mom's friend, she encouraged me to, why don't you think about teaching? And it was like, oh, I'm really not interested. Well, it went from there. I did start to teach. So from there, it was my first competition. I don't know if you know this. This was back in 1995. It was a world aerobic competition. Google it and you'll get a good laugh, but I did it. And I flew all the way to Chicago. My whole family went. I did not place, and it was an experience. However, I wanted to do something else. It was just, what else could I do? It was me trying to, I don't know, prove myself, or I'm just a competitive person anyways. I started bodybuilding shows back in 1998. Was my first bodybuilding show locally around here in Ohio. And back then it was just bodybuilding, no figure, no bikini. It was women's bodybuilding. So from there on, I just kept entering show after show, and that kind of started it.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I remember that era, and I actually remember being on ESPN, and they would have aerobics. They would have like the little black square stall mats on the sand, and they'd be doing leg raises and body weight kickbacks. And that was a wonderful era of fitness. And it's actually funny that they didn't have less muscular divisions in the sport back then, with how popular like aerobics was. And then it wasn't long after, I believe ESPN started hosting the Flex magazine workouts, if I remember right, or similar to that. So that's so cool, because I did not know that about you. So this is amazing. So when you did your first competition, do you remember what show it was and how you placed?
It was the Ohio, I think it was just an open bodybuilding competition. I think I might have got a second or third place. And, I just really, one of my very first trainers, I'll go back a little bit. I saw her out one night. We were out, and I saw this woman with muscles. And I was like, I said, I want that. That's what I want to do. I started talking to her immediately, and picked her brain, and that kind of set the base for bodybuilding. But a couple second and third places, nothing big, but I still enjoyed it. It wasn't necessarily, of course, everybody wants to win, but it wasn't my thought, oh, I'm going to earn a pro card. I didn't even know about pro card back then. I just enjoyed the process, the working out, the structure. Structure is huge for me. If I don't have a goal or structure, I feel lost,
Yeah.
you know?
So you like the militant and the timing of the meals and
Yeah.
eating the same thing every day.
Yeah, it doesn't, it's funny because people will say, oh, the diet, the diet. Well, until I met you, let's jump track for a hot minute. Back then it was a piece of chicken
Yeah.
and a piece of asparagus, and there you go. But until I met you, of course, everything changed with
The,
that.
the whole concept of macro dieting, even though foods had macros, no one had really thought outside the box on why we ate these things. And the coaches back then, you got a plan. And then if that plan worked for somebody, you used it again. And there's still coaches to this day that do that. But it's definitely broadened quite a bit as science has evolved. And how cool of you to be able to evolve, because a lot of people get stuck on like what has worked for them and they get afraid of change. But the fact that you've been willing to change, I think, is why you've advanced in your career so much too. So that's super cool. I know Eric was a huge influence on your journey before you started working with me. So can we talk about Eric Ferment and your journey with him? And I surely want to highlight and credit him.
Yes, he was my coach and a dear friend of mine. He taught me how to lift. He taught me the basically, bodybuilding lifting. And we trained 4 days, I think it was 4 days a week. We trained every day. And he was the type of person that we were pretty quiet, and it was more like nod the head, you know what to do. It was all business. And people kind of chuckle about that to this day, that when he walked in the building, or he was the manager of our facility. And when he walked in, it was everyone kind of straightened up, and it was all business. And it was like that when we lifted.
Wow.
So, and it wasn't anything like, he was a big heart, a great person. But he got me to that. My first, 2013 was I think it was the elite physique, and that's where I qualified. And he got me there. And then to earn my pro card was 2014. So I did the Pittsburgh Masters. In fact, that was physique.
That's
so
right.
I earned my pro card in physique, and he was there. And like I said, yes, I learned about getting the pro card and all that, but that wasn't my drive. I never felt that was like, oh, that's my goal. I just loved competing.
Yeah.
I again, process and all that good stuff.
Think of how unique that is. That's 20 years in the making. And I know people who, if they don't get their pro card in 5, they just toss the towel in.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It is an honor, and I am proud that happened. However, I just like to do it, but he was that person. He got me to the stage, I give him credit for that, help to get me to that pro card.
Absolutely. And credit to your physique to this day, because you were relatively stacked when you started with me, and we've been able to add pounds of muscle. One thing I want to highlight about you is you do your own training, and I just do your diet. And we mesh very well on that, because you know the areas that you need to work on, and you work on them, and you improve every year. We should also rewind back to 2018. You won your first pro championship. We did that together. And then, fast forward to 2022, the world championship, which is the, Super Bowl of Masters, bodybuilding competition, which is absolutely phenomenal. And to be 7 years older than the women you compete against is absolutely incredible. And then you did the 40 and up as well, if I remember correct.
Yes.
And I believe you were third, right?
Uh, fourth place this time at the World's Masters.
Yeah, which
So,
is absolutely
oh,
incredible, giving up, possibly 17 years to your youngest competitor.
yeah, it was, I mean, that top call out, and where it falls, it falls. And
Yeah,
yeah, I was actually really, well, you were there this time around. It was, was shocked. I would say I was shocked for me. Um,
yeah. You're
just,
always so humble though, too.
well, I think even to win a show, um, let's reach out to the judges. We always do, and you and I both agree on that. What can I do to get better? What can I do to get better? So I always think that in the back of my head. I want to continue this. So in order to keep up, what do I need to do? So
Yeah. And the judges see a lot of bodies. So, we want to be prepared if they've seen anyone better, because that could be a hint like, you won this show, but we want to see you have this so you're even more competitive if so and so shows up, and I think that's really cool. And that's why it's bodybuilding. You never really find that it's done, and I've had bikini competitors who are like, you know what, I do want to jump up into figure or wellness if we find we're holding back on certain muscle groups. A lot of people are like, I don't want to hold back on what I'm capable of. And I find that's where your truest competitors kind of lie.
right, right, and when I was doing physique, I loved that aspect. I started in, well, obviously bodybuilding because that's what there was, but I enjoyed the posing. However, at that time, I'm a small person, not that that matters as we've, figured out here, but some of the girls were a lot bigger. And I'm thinking, well, let's go into figure. And I enjoy it. I do. I enjoy all divisions, but I think figures I feel it. I feel good
I
with
think so too. I think it fits your physique best, and where pro
it.
figure or physique is at right now. I think it matches and aligns with your goals a little bit better. And I love that. I love that you were like willing to make that change. It worked very well for you.
Yes. Yes. And then, this every time on stage is a different experience. Um, and this last time was a really good feel. Sometimes you have those times you walk out there and you're so stressed out and you're like, oh, am I smiling? Am I doing this right? And it was a really good experience this time around.
Absolutely. One thing I want to ask, you've done this almost 30 years. Has there ever been a dark time in your fitness journey, or a time where maybe it wasn't as passion filled, or do you feel like you've kept your foot on the gas the whole time?
Um, I could say probably, well, when I was injured. So knee surgery in 2020. So September of 20, no, yeah, September 2020. So I was off from 2019. We were in Tampa and I did Pittsburgh that year. So I injured myself in 2020. So that for me was probably uh, my darkest time. I had a lot of time off. I was off for, almost a year and a half at least before I could actually do things. And I had a lot of self pity moments and, you know, sadness. However, I was um, coaching other people. So that kind of brought things back into perspective for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I was able to get out of myself, get out of my
just
head,
gave me chills when you said that. I can totally relate to
and
that.
I had to get out of my own, quit feeling sorry for yourself. If you go back to it, you go back to it.
Yeah.
if it happens and you heal, and it was pretty extensive. I know we talked, and I had a hamstring graft. They made a new ACL. I had meniscus surgery, and I fractured my tibia. So it was just all that. And, but like I said, I started helping. I had a good year with clients as far as competing. I think I had 12 shows, biggest thing I've ever done.
You had a lot of shows that year. And that was actually my next question. Tell us about Team Lachowski. I always love seeing your team.
It's, what, it was just the group that I had, that they were all preparing. But also, you become friends with, your clients, and you get close, and very close with all of them. And they just kept saying hashtag Team Lachowski. I'm like, oh, you guys, come on, just let's go to work. But they made jackets, and it just kind of went from there. And it's a close little group, and we're all content with that. And it's just our gym group, but they were all great competitors. And it just was a good experience for almost everyone, I would say.
Oh, absolutely. The bonds that are formed there, and like the Halloween parties and stuff and the dinners I see you guys get to, it reminds me a lot of our team as well. Like we really are close, and people can make your team what they want it to be if they allow themselves to open up. And some people just want to go in and train and leave, and that's fine too. But I love your team. And then we also had to say you had your first IFBB Pro winner this year.
Yes.
I think that was your first anyhow.
First, yes. Kelly Gutierrez, she hopped on stage. She was working hard for it the past, couple years. And you mostly everybody that I work with, because you see them all at the shows. And
yeah,
it was her. She was in figure, and it was figure. And she kept saying to me, I want to pose. I want to do a bicep pose. I said, you can't do that in figure. So this was literally, I think, maybe 2 months before she was ready to go in July as well. And I said, Kelly, I said, do a front double bicep. We're in the mirror, we're practicing. And we started going through the poses. I said, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's just go to physique. She goes, are you serious? I said, yeah, let's do it. And it is her. I mean, that division for her is perfect, and it worked out. So she earned her pro card.
She sold it so well that I mean, it was hard for me to remember she did figure the previous year, to be honest. That's awesome.
She had a couple, I think it was a couple years. We were going back and forth, I think. She actually did the elite physique. I think that was also, don't quote me, it was before 2020 though. She started there. She actually, in figure, she took the whole show.
That's incredible.
So she moved on, and yes, she earned her pro card. So this is a great moment for her and for all of us. We're all supportive, and what it's like to have your peeps get to that level, and the excitement, and it's a big feeling. It is.
A lot of people say it ends at the show, and for me it doesn't. It's kind of, I don't have kids though, so I think some people, maybe those accomplishments are less highlighted maybe for coaches with kids, because I imagine having children is a very big task, and there's a lot of joys that come with that. But that's one thing that you and I share in common, is that we do not have children, and our dogs are like our children 1000%. So it's literally just our spouse and our competitors. And I think that's why we have so much love in our heart for our competitors, and so much passion, because that kind of is a big part of our hearts that we get to give, since it's not given so much at home, aside from our pets and spouses.
True.
So we have to highlight Joe. your husband. He might be the most patient man I've ever met.
So Joe is very patient. And let's see, he goes to all my shows, of course. And he also goes to my client shows. He's just that, hey, do you want to go? Sure, I'll go. And it's kind of, it's cute that now he sits in the stage and he has his hands. So I think they need to work on their lats, or I think the legs need to come up. Now he knows.
That is awesome. So you're telling me he stopped bringing the newspaper now?
Well, no. He still has to read the newspaper front to back, side to side. No.
I always love that about him. So the first time I met Joe, I thought that maybe that was just a one-time thing. And then every show, it's the cooler with the newspaper on top of it. It's like clockwork.
Yeah.
And I thought, how cool, I actually too, I do enjoy somebody breaking away from digital devices. You just don't really see that anymore these days.
No, he's been reading the paper at a very young age. His father told him, he asked him a question and he's about something that, he was reading, and his dad said, well, I'll let you know in a minute. So he finished reading the paper and he handed him the paper and he said, now read it. And he said, if you want to know something, this is where you're going to find it. So from that day forward, Joe has read the paper, in fact, multiple papers too. But every morning, it's 7:30. He's sitting at the table. He has his little cheaters on now, and he's reading the paper, and he'll cut out articles. And
that's cool.
Yep.
And how did you guys meet, and how long have you been married?
30 years, 30, no, I'm in trouble, 32 years. And we met, my girlfriend was having a party, a bonfire party in Joe's backyard. So a group of friends, there was a party in Joe's backyard. And I had gone to school with most of these, but not with Joe. And I met him there, and we talked, and that was my senior year of high school, and he had to leave to go play softball. So he said, see you later. And then he asked our friend for my number, and that kind of was it.
That's so cool.
Dated and had to be home by midnight. Every time we went out, the rules, the old school.
Oh yeah. We had this.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been together ever since.
That's awesome. That's amazing. What's one piece of advice you would give to somebody getting ready to start their journey in, whether it be competing or fitness?
I would definitely say hire a good coach, hire a coach, research. Can I say how I researched you?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So before I answer the question, you had competitors at, I'm pretty sure it was Dave Lieberman's show, and which I didn't know that you were their coach at that time. And I was looking at these girls on stage, and I'm like, wow. Their look was not sunken, and they were energetic, and their skin looked good, and they really, like, the conditioning, everything. And so I Googled one of the girls, and for some reason, I can't think of her name right now, but it'll come to me. I think she was a bikini competitor, and I saw you. So that's how I got a hold of you. So that's your little.
That's so cool. I do have to talk about this, because when you Facebook messaged me, and if anyone knows, there's a lot of fake Facebook accounts, and when you had messaged me, and a lot of people will be like IFBB pro if they're fake sometimes, and you'd messaged me, but you had put a lot of information in there. I was like, I actually think this is a real like inquiry. So I responded back, and then I was like, oh yeah, this is for sure real, because then you had added me and I was able to see like all of your photos versus just, and I was like, oh, this is for real, because no one fakes, photos from like 2013. So I was happy to find out you were real. And then
Photos.
yeah, I remember being in my old house on Carlotta Street and on my Facebook Messenger on my phone and messaging you. So definitely cool. And I I believe we started with a meal plan to gradually get you into macros.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and I definitely agree. Hiring a good coach is definitely key. In a weird way, you almost have to subscribe to whatever that coach believes in. And
Mhm.
that's kind of difficult because there's so many different avenues and curriculums and lessons in this sport. But I do think that it's important to have a very open mind or a very open-minded coach that will
And
I've
you,
had people like go back to meal plans with me because they just prefer it. And, so I have a very flexible approach because I'd rather my clients stay with me and have someone who cares so much about them versus, coach who's just like, here's your next meal plan,
yes.
whether it be every week or month.
And that's the thing. When you do hire someone, you do want that openness, flexibility, and I know we have that. So, hey, if I have a concern, well, what do you think? Why don't we try this? You make me feel like we do work really well together, and you make me feel comfortable. And that's so important. If you have someone that's like, no, don't do, I mean, you have to have an open mind, and everybody's different. And
Yeah.
you give that to me, you give that comfort level. And that's something that I, feel is so important. And, you know, you don't stress me out. You actually make me feel calm. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
It's funny because technology has really allowed me to advance my coaching. And back when we could only type, way long ago, now I do like a voice
yeah,
memo. It's so much better. But doing the Zoom calls has really allowed my clients, we do like a daily Zoom Monday through Friday. It really allows my clients to see who I am and how gently I'll respond to things. And it's funny because a lot of people are so much more open to ask questions now, where before, in a weird way, people were almost afraid of me if they had not met me yet because they were, you just, I think a lot of times people put past relationship, how they were treated into like no
yeah,
matter what new one they are. They just assume the person they're with is going to be like the old person they were with. And I'm really gentle with my responses and how I treat people. And even if it's a conflict, I'll explore the pros and cons and explore it with that person versus saying yes, no, or just being too nice and agreeing with them. So
right,
that's the
right.
hard thing, is opposing views, but there's always a proper way to go about it.
And you do that, and you do have great communication. And that's a super important thing, I feel, when you're getting ready to do or decide to go on stage, and have that open communication. And also be prepared. It's competing is not easy. It's not for everyone. I think some people, oh, I just want to put it on my bucket list, and then when they get involved, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize. So be prepared. I mean, you're going to have to make some sacrifices and and changes, and you know dedication, miss out on events, all that stuff. And, but just make sure that, you're communicating to your coach. I think that's, a big thing.
Yeah, competing is definitely hard. I know you and I have both transformed bodies who people probably thought couldn't compete to compete.
Mhm.
And one thing that I see a lot on social media now that kind of bothers me is if someone can't compete, they then assume they have some kind of disorder, whether it be eating or something like that. And it's just, you know, just because I can't ride a bike fast enough to qualify for the Tour de France doesn't mean I have a biking disorder. It just means I'm maybe not an excellent biker and that's not the sport for me.
Right.
But it doesn't mean I can't go out and casually bike or, just take care of myself. And I think I hate when I see those accounts post stuff like that, immediately post dropping their show date or maybe even post competition if they didn't get the placement they want. And it's just not for everybody.
And that's another thing. The first thing I tell people is just realize, really realize this and let it sink in. You are being judged. You choose to be judged on
Yes.
stage with everything out there, and sometimes it's not easy to hear the judge's critique of you, or you may not have liked your placing. However, start it and finish it respectfully, and don't let it show on stage. If you're upset, we all been there, but just be graceful enough and finish it, and know that you've entered this is your choice. I mean,
Right.
not
Yeah.
with hard love, but sometimes I see that with some individuals, and it's a choice. It's a choice. So got to go with it.
Yeah.
Get better.
That's awesome. And I totally agree. What is your biggest goal for 2023?
More than one show. I'm going to tell you this, but you know how I am. Like one, and okay, I feel good. No, I would like to do a few shows this coming year. I set my goals up there, but
Yeah. I'd like to see you do Legions if I had my pick out of that, along with the Masters Worlds.
oh, I got to go back there.
Yes. Yeah, you do.
I wouldn't mind going back to Tampa. That was an awesome experience. Really, I enjoyed that show. And all of them really. They're all great shows.
Yeah. Do you have more fun in the Masters than the Open, or do you enjoy all?
Well, the Open. Let's talk about the Open. I think you put me in the Open in Tampa.
I did.
Wow. However, I didn't think I would get a top call out, no doubt. However, it wasn't rock bottom, so I was thankful. It was a little bit. It was a little nerve wracking. However, I said I'm going to try it. You wanted me to just get out of that box and go for it, and I did. But I do enjoy the Masters. I wish all this added up to a Masters Olympia.
We're really hoping for an announcement, and who knows, they typically always announce something at the Olympia, and maybe that's it, but I think there's a very good possibility that we see that within the next couple years.
That would be,
yeah.
That'd be something, but it's still great.
Then anyone you want to thank as we close out this podcast?
Of course, I would love to thank my family, mother, father, my siblings, brother, sister, my husband, my team, everybody. It's great to have the support. And of course, I would like to thank you for keeping me on our team, and your support, encouragement, and your wisdom. Learning to do things a different way from what I used to do all 30 years ago. I appreciate it so much. It just, remember the first email you gave me, it said, eat what you want, stay within these ranges. I'm like, what? Is he crazy? I can't do that.
That's awesome.
It makes no sense. But I appreciate you, and great things to come, more great things to come. I hope.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for thanking me. And I always enjoy our conversations. I remember us on the phone as I was kind of packing up my supplements. We were just kind of spitballing ideas on, you know, this is a good topic to have. A lot of people don't realize how often coaches probably communicate with other coaches. And, it's those experiences when we maybe have a difficult client or a difficult client situation, sometimes you just need another coach to understand. And you've always been there for me with that. And I've always been there for you. And I love that about our relationship, because sometimes you just need another coach to like talk to. And I know you and Nicole Ferrier are two big people that I'll chat to. And then you guys in return with me as well. So I always love that camaraderie that we have.
And you're appreciated, and we appreciate you. And, I can't thank you enough for helping me continue this fitness journey, bodybuilding journey, whatever else comes next.
Yes. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. I'm excited to have this drop, and we will see you guys on the next See You Later Leaner experience.
Thank you. See you soon, Adam.